It's time for our daily dose of cope. And we have Eli Trunkston filling in for the news anchor's desk for the Leopards News Network. There are so many stories to get to. This one is going to be kind of a long one, so get you a beverage, buckle up, and let's get to some of these stories. This man right here from Honest Hammer Custom Builders, so he's in construction, he put out this video about a week ago, and you can see the caption right there. Dear President Trump, the solution to the construction immigration issue is simple. He goes on to make a video that's about 3.5 minutes. I have sped it up and I added some captions for y'all. But first, let me read his caption for y'all right here. I don't like to ever get political on here because it doesn't do any good. People want to argue and fight on here, and I never want to do that. But this is from my heart. This is the simple solution on how to deal with the hardworking immigrants in our country. Please listen and repost so Donald Trump can see this and help us right this ship. So he thinks that, just sharing this TikTok video, that's how we're going to fix things. That's very nice. He seems like a nice guy. Let's watch the video.
So I really didn't want to do a video on this, but I've been asked by quite a few people what I thought about the immigration stuff happening at job sites all around the state of Florida, here in Tampa, Tallahassee. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen a lot of the videos, and it seems like a lot of people are just yelling and they're mad. I don't understand why this is happening. I don't understand it either. It's not what I voted for. I voted for the criminals to be removed. 100%. But there are a lot of hardworking immigrants in this country that are building this country. Going back to when I started building Hard Rock, 85% probably immigrants, all hardworking people providing for their families. Talk to them, get to see their kids on their phones, hear them all interact, have great days, loving what they do. I've been to the trade schools here in Tampa. I don't see how we fill these positions. It's going to cause construction to collapse here. It worries me. I'm in a good position right now with the 2 custom homes I have coming up this year, but ultimately the shoes are not going to be filled by these people getting rushed out of here. So I'm not going to copy everybody else on this video here. I've got a solution. The solution, President Trump, is to not deport these gentlemen right away, these hardworking gentlemen and women that have been removed from these job sites. Get them legal status somehow under a work visa, background check them, do whatever you need to do to make sure they're not criminals, but let's get them legalized in a rushed form or fashion. That's what needs to happen. That's the right thing to do if you care about America. It's the right thing to do because construction is the biggest industry. I'm sorry, healthcare, but we all know I won't go to health. I don't do that here. Construction is the biggest industry in this country, and you're ripping the people out of it. Robots are not coming soon enough to build this stuff. You can only build so many 3D printed homes, and they need people there to manage those too. So Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, the solution, not the problem. We all know what the problem is. The solution is to not deport them. Get them legalized as soon as possible with the proper background checks. If they have to go, they have to go. But these are hardworking people that are building this country to provide for their families. There's enough craziness going on in this world. We don't need it here as much as it's happening with good people being removed. Dishwashers and stuff in other cities. It's sad. It's sad. It makes me sick. But that's the solution, President Trump. I'm not going to sit here and cry about it, but that's the solution. Do what's right for America. Please, I'm begging you. Honest Hammer is begging you. Do what's right for this country. We need the hard workers here. Hope he sees it.
I want to remind us all that Trump ran on bloody mass deportation. He said that many of times. They had signs and everything that says mass deportation now. He says, I'm going to go after the criminals first. If he says the word first, then that means that there is a second and third wave coming as well. And now we are in that second and third wave. That is the reason why they are going for these people, going after these people. There is a reason, because they want to get rid of those people. And I don't know why these people voted for this, knowing who they hire in construction, in agriculture, in the hospitality business. A lot of these people that are directly impacted by these mass deportations actually voted for this guy. There's absolutely no reason for this close-up, but here we are. Because that's who I am. Now we have Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia says, I may have voted for Trump, but I can't stay silent about what's going on with ICE in LA. These aren't just illegals or statistics. They're people, hardworking immigrants, especially Mexicans who pay taxes, raise families, build our communities, and are part of the people we love. Ripping them away from their homes is not just policy, it's pain. We can have borders without losing our humanity. So he says, I may have voted for Trump. All right, so that's problem number one. But problem number two, where he says, build our communities. So obviously he is part of this community. So he's part of this community that he directly voted against, because I want to remind us all that he campaigned on bloody mass deportations. I just want to highlight that. I took this picture from the Leopards Ate My Face subreddit. Take a screenshot if you need it. But so many of these people are acting like this is not what they voted for. This is precisely what you voted for, because he said he was going to do it. And now people are all clutching at their imaginary pearls like they didn't know, like this is taking them by surprise. And I am trying to figure out why that is. Now we have Vic Bernal. He says, I'm a 41-year-old man with logic, empathy, and reason. I'm a Latino from Mexican parents, a Texas native, a Marine combat veteran, and a proud American. Because I'm proud to be an American. And he says, I voted for President Trump and I don't support this. You absolutely do support this, because he said that he was going to do this. I don't have to keep on showing the picture that highlights the sign that says mass deportation. You absolutely support this. You knew how he felt about Mexicans when he came down that that escalator back in 2015. You knew precisely how he felt about people with your heritage. You absolutely know, but you still voted for him. So this is precisely what you support, because this is how you voted. Now we got this post out of the Leopards Ate My Face subreddit. It's about a Kentucky grandmother whose loans are now becoming due. So let's jump into her post. All right, it says, Tammy Sabins, 64, a grandmother in Kentucky, borrowed $25,000 in the 2000s to go back to school for a nursing degree. Today, accrued interest has left with a nearly $52,000 balance, leaving her unable to retire despite a doctor's recommendation that she do so for her health. Sabins voted for Trump in November because she didn't want our economy to turn into a socialist economy, which seemed to be the way it was headed under Biden. But she, like Belt, was dismayed when the federal portal for changing repayment plans went down for a month, preventing her from adjusting her monthly payment to reflect her current income. Instead, she had to enter the same limbo as Belt, unable to make progress toward repaying her loan. Boy, I wish I could rewind that vote. Sabin said of the ballot she cast for Trump, I can't sleep at night worrying about all this stuff. You can't do anything about it. It's cast. But now that she's being impacted, now that her life is stressful, now that money is an issue, now she's regretting her vote a little bit. At least she's about the only one that has actually regretted it. But she's talking about she didn't want this to turn into a socialist economy. Cool. That means that you just need to keep on working, because there was one side that was talking about loan forgiveness, but their side was like, They were really thinking that the coloreds might get some of that help. They did not want the coloreds to get anything. Therefore, she gets nothing but stress and less money. So there you have it. This is kind of crazy though. She borrowed $25,000 and it's left her. Now she's at $52,000. Jesus, that's pretty terrible right there. Now I want to get to this post that I saw yesterday in the Leopards Ate My Face subreddit. So this woman posted on TikTok. Her name is Cynthia Hot Mama. She says in her caption, they are withholding a terminally ill person from coming home to spend his final months surrounded by a family just because he's an immigrant. Repost and share the GoFundMe in my bio. We need as many eyes on this situation as possible. She has turned off the comments. You can see I have that circled down there. I am going to show you the video that she posted, but first I want you to see this. Before she turned off the comments, and she has turned off the comments on all of her videos or most of her videos, because I surely did go to her post. But this person named Dan says, I'm so sorry what you're going through. As a Black immigrant, I noticed that you reposted Trump and RFK. Did you think it was only us they were deporting? Why did you vote this way? And then Cynthia says, thank you. And you have every right to ask. To be honest, I only voted for Trump because I supported RFK's health views and believed in his message about making America healthier. When RFK dropped out, I made a decision without fully informing myself on Trump's plans, especially around immigration. That was my mistake. I didn't realize how deeply it would affect families until now. I'm owning that and speaking up because no one should have to go through what we're going through right now. And then Dan says, thank you for acknowledging you voted for him or not tried to gaslight me. It breaks my heart that he continues with, it breaks my heart that you bypassed the comments where he said, and I'm not exactly what he finished with because the comments are all gone and that's the extent of the comment section. But she voted for Trump because he put RFK in the administration, even though he was talking about bloody mass deportation, and she has a daddy who's an immigrant. This is where we are right now, y'all. An undocumented immigrant. She has a daddy that's an undocumented immigrant. Over on the Leopards Ate My Face post, this person, Losing Hope for Us, says, daughter of immigrant voted for Trump and claims she wasn't aware of his immigration policies. Now she's asking for help from everybody because her terminally ill father, who has 6 months left to live, is being held in an ICE detention center. She absolutely voted for this. Nero Salvo says, if only he had been clear that he wanted to deport immigrants. And then Yankees Eye says, it's not like he said he wanted to build a giant wall on the southern border to keep Mexicans out. What do you want from her? And then CG at the bottom says, or called them grapists and vermin poisoning the blood of our country. Yeah, he totally didn't say that about them. Orion said, or had everyone at his nomination hold up signs that said mass deportation now, which I've shared a couple of times. Bucket Crab says, I mean, it's not like he held dozens of rallies where everyone was holding up mass deportation now signs. Oh, wait. Spinning Head says, he doesn't mean me. And then King Tactical says, I'm not the type of guy to say I told a so, but I told a so, I effing told a so. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and watch the video now. I decided to put these videos at the end, or put her video at the end.
I have the meeting today with ICE and the Florida Commissioner where they'll be deciding if my terminally ill dad, who has less than 6 months to live, if he gets to come home or if they're going to continue to detain him where he will eventually pass away in their care. I've been trying everything. I've reached out to news outlets to see if they could share my dad's story. I reached out to people with large platforms with no response. I even reached out to a congresswoman to see if she could write a letter or something to support they releasing my dad, and she told me that there was nothing that she can do. My dad's future, his fate, and where he would spend literally the rest of his life depends on the phone call today. He's not a danger. He could barely walk. He's wheelchair bound. He could barely speak. His voice has changed drastically since he was detained with them. He's not a harm to anyone, and we just want as many eyes on his story as possible. So please continue sharing this post. Please continue sharing the GoFundMe and just spreading the word, because we honestly need all the help we could get. The one thing that they are withholding from him is time with his family. I will keep everyone updated. I have a meeting tomorrow with ICE and the Florida Commissioner, and they'll basically be deciding if they let my terminally ill dad with less than 6 months to live, if they release him, or if they're going to continue to detain him and eventually, pass in their care. They are only giving us 10 minutes in total to speak. So I'm going to be the one doing the speech on behalf of my whole entire family and basically everyone that loves my dad. I'm afraid that I'm going into the meeting with the decision already predetermined for him due to everything going on in the world right now. This couldn't have happened at an even worse time, if that makes sense. I hope that my speech touches the right spot in their heart and they show him mercy and let him come spend what is left. That's where my flash turned off. And they let him come spend what is left of his life at home with his family.